believe it? It's been 10 years.
I was just looking at the calendar going 2013 to present day.
10 years of,
Wow.
of Toyman television.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and this is not only 10 years, it's 900 videos.
Isn't that something?
This is our 900th video.
Wow.
Over 60,000 subscribers now.
You guys do the math.
And over 14.5 million views. My very first video I put up got 12 views.
Yeah, it was doing really well.
So it's been a progress. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
That very first show was my birthday.
Right.
Well, this is my birthday party. It's kind of a special birthday party. You see, it all started a few months ago when I was invited into the president's office. Not that president, the president of the school, the company where I'm working. And she's there with my boss's boss. And she says, "So, not counting today, how long have you been working here?"
The big celebration was I'd been laid off of my job.
Yeah, boy.
So that was my birthday present that year from my employer, the school where I was teaching, was that they said, "Happy birthday, you don't work here anymore."
Yep, there you go.
And so my brother came down and I relocated to Salt Lake City and
here you are.
And decided to do a YouTube channel.
Right.
Wow.
10 years.
10 years. And right away I got the idea that I wanted to build two things. I wanted to build a recording studio because I'd always had a recording studio, and that was kind of what I've been doing in California,
right.
Teaching at the school and everything.
Right.
One of the reasons I wanted to build a recording studio is I had a recording studio. I built it in the garage behind the house where I was living. And that was back when I was doing Grizzly Adams.
Right.
Well, in a somewhat unrelated and yet related note, you may have heard of the passing of Dan Haggerty this week. Kind of sad.
So sad.
Our dear friend Dan Haggerty. Dan and I worked together way back in the 70s, and I bring it up, A, because he just passed away, but B, because we were recording sound there at what we call Garage Studios, now Garage Mahal, and one of the projects that we were working on was Grizzly Adams with Dan Haggerty. And I was doing sound design on that project with a lot of other people.
It was my favorite show back then. I never missed an episode.
It was
I
fun.
loved that show.
I have to say it was also my dog's favorite show. Fritz, he'd be pissed off at me if I didn't put on Grizzly Adams. He loved Grizzly Adams, and he'd sit there, and occasionally he would attack the television set. But that's probably a story for another day. But
Yes,
he really
it is.
loved Ben the Bear, and he may have on some screwy level related to the fact that the sound coming out of that bear wasn't really bear sound. It was me making bear sounds. So I want to show you how I went about doing that in honor of Dan and his passing, and also some of the fun we used to have back in the days of Garage Studios.
Wow.
Okay, so this is how this is going to work then. This is the Nagra recorder, Nagra 4L, and I'm going to go into record with this running at a high speed at 15 inches per second. And now I'm going to pretend to be a bear. Now when Ben would get inquisitive, he would go,
Okay, now that I have my bear recorded, I will rewind. Okay, but I'm not going to play it back at the same speed that we recorded it at. I'm going to slow it down. And the speed control is up under the tape here. And we should hear a bear.
Ben! Ben, there's blood on this fox fur. I need you to help me pick up the track. Can you do that? Ben? Let's go.
There's a door into another land. Here is our life and all.
I've been working in the movie industry. I worked on my very first film when I was in high school, like 1968.
Wow.
And by the 70s, I went to school to learn that. I went to film school and went on to working in television and doing Grizzly Adams and all kinds of different things. Worked at that for 10 years.
Right.
And then decided I wanted to teach as well. So I added that to the mix.
Right.
But I'd always had some kind of involvement with the film industry and some sort of studio. And I thought, well, I've still got the ambition to do it, but I don't really want to build it in the garage again. And I'd torn the studio out in the garage years and years before.
Right.
And I just had cars parked in there and stuff. And it was like, well, building a new studio downtown somewhere.
Yeah.
Do that. So
Right.
that's kind of when I met you.
Exactly. But then we friended each other on Facebook, and we were subscribed to each other's channel on YouTube, and then of course the next thing was I became a grandmother, and my daughter lived in Salt Lake, so I quite naturally started making the trip once a week to visit my grandbaby and stay the weekend. And of course we were talking back and forth, and you invited me to come see the studio.
Yeah.
So that's how we actually met in person for the first time.
It was down at the studio.
Right.
It was somewhere in there that we came up with the idea to take the old recording studio in the garage and get the cars out of the garage because it had been turned into a garage. Moreover, when I moved back from California, I had all my models and all my stuff packed up, and I put them in storage.
Yes.
And I moved all that storage and put that in the garage. So the garage is full of cars and models and boxes and crap. It looked like the end scene in Indiana Jones.
It did. I remember the first time I saw it, it was like, are you kidding?
And it was all totally disorganized. Everything just stacked up, helter-skelter every which way.
Yeah.
But we said, let's turn it into the ultimate model garage.
Right.
Garage Mahal.
Exactly.
And it's like, you gotta, I mean, I don't know that people can fully appreciate the undertaking. First going in there and tearing out what was left of the old recording studio, getting the cars out of there, moving the cars around, unpacking all the boxes.
And getting one of those cars running.
Yeah, and then, and vehicles parked out in the driveway that had been parked out there. David had his truck that had been beached out there for years. And, and we had to rent a pod and stick as much stuff in there just to get... But we finally managed to get everything cleared out of the garage and started putting up walls. And it was like, this is actually going to be really incredible.
Right.
And in the meantime, we were kind of going, well, I guess we'll rent the recording studio to someone else.
Yeah.
And there were these kids that wanted to do that, and they're still doing that, and God bless them, because I hope they're being very successful doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it should be fine.
So that's fine. Can't do everything. I mean, you can try, but
exactly.
I'm much happier just building models and working on the railroad, and then doing the channel takes forever too.
Right. Well, what was neat about the studio, though, when we had it, that's where we got married.
Yes.
And right when in the middle of doing all of this with the garage, I had to sell my place and move all of my stuff up here. So that was quite a job, and then trying to fit all that in with everything else. So my junk added to your junk, and between our two mothers and their stuff, and hey, it's been a work in progress.
Well, and you'd always built miniatures and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So the idea of us having this shop together where
Well,
we
I
could
had my
work on things-
collections too, the Hot Wheels collection and my dolls and my other car collections and models and my piston.
Yeah, you're not a real think
No,
aficionado
you
unless
don't
you
have a piston, and I have a piston.
Yeah.
It's a trophy piston, but yeah, it's one I have.
Well, we've still got much to cover on these subjects.
Oh, we do.
And so we're going to do this as a couple of different shows. And so you want to tune in and see the rest of this, I hope.
It's a story.
It's a story. It's the story of the progress of all these things and how we ended up being where we are and how we ended up with a YouTube channel that's 10 years old. But if you want to follow along with this, you want to be a subscriber.
Right.
And the easy way to become a subscriber is by clicking on the upcoming blue button. Are we ready for that?
Ready for it.
Sign. Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here on Tuesday with something fun.
Oh yeah.
See you then.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.